Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that we're going to cover this morning to start your week off is a new Biden temper tantrum. This time, we're railing against GOP members who would dare support the NRA, one of the main voting bloc constituencies of the entire Republican Party, and conservatives everywhere who actually believe in Second Amendment rights. You can't make this up. Everything's going to be linked in the description box below, and I'm going to walk you through what is now passing as common sense gun reform. It's no longer extreme leftist gun reform. Now the left has gone mainstream, and I cannot wait to hear what you guys think in the comments field below. And if you are new or you are a returning viewer, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel, and making sure you turn that notification bell on. We need as many of you as possible to get into the fold with us to pass this information along so that we can pass the blessing of the Second Amendment along to the next generation. And thank you so much in advance for your consideration. So, my brothers and sisters, listen to what our President Joe Biden, has to say. And again, I'm going to highlight the fact that what used to be extreme is now transitioning into the middle of the party. Check this out. Outrageous and unacceptable. Biden slams GOP for standing with NRA in wake of Alabama, Kentucky, and gun violence. Now, this came out yesterday. Now, this is the interesting part. You have to pick a target, you have to isolate the target, you have to demonize the target, you have to destroy the target. That's the rules for radical. That's Saul Alinsky. That is a playbook that is happening from the left over the last decade. They are isolating a target. The NRA in this case is becoming let's just say the punching bag. It's a nice way to say it. It's becoming the punching bag for the left, and that's the cause of all problems in the entire planet. It's not going to work. But I digress. Let me show you what they're doing here, because this is an interesting switch. And if we can get in front of it, we can win this bad boy. President Biden blasted Republicans Sunday for standing with the National Rifle Association in the wake of two more shootings in Alabama and Kentucky. Now, notice they don't actually say what happened in Alabama and Kentucky when crime was committed. They don't tell you the perpetrators. They don't tell you they were underage. They don't tell you any of the details. They just tell you, there was a gun, there was a victim, therefore guns should go away. The details are important. But let's continue, because I've got to get to the point of this video before I start a soapbox. Biden criticized GOP members for not acting on the gun violence, which is ironic because they put forward bills to harden schools, they put forward bills for mental health funding, they've done all sorts of things. When they say not supporting gun control, what they're talking about is doing what they want. But anyway, I digress. Saying that Americans want common sense gun laws. Again, this is the important part. Common sense. They're trying to market this. He again reiterated that it is up to Congress to pass gun safety laws and to approve a national ban of assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. So the farthest, most extreme position on the left with gun control is banning items. Incredibly unconstitutional. You cannot get through that with the courts, and yet they still go at it. They put common sense and then they say AR bans. This is a marketing tactic. Well, if they said common sense and they said AR bans, it must be common sense to ban ARs. That's what happens when they introduce and then they reinforce. But let me continue and show you what else they're doing, because Biden, it's not all there, but whoever's writing his speech has a very interesting perspective and a clear mission. Quote, "What does our nation come to when children cannot attend a birthday party without fear? When parents have to worry every time their kids walk out the door to school, to a movie theater, or to the park?" Biden asked in his statement. I'll reiterate that exact same question. What has happened to our country? What happens to the hearts and minds of our people? What happened to the mental illness? What happened to all these different things? Why can't children be in schools? Why can't children walk out the door and their parents not be afraid? It should be that way. How many times have you heard from your own parents, when I was a kid, it wasn't like this? When you were a kid, it wasn't because guns didn't exist. It wasn't because guns all of a sudden magically happened when you were older. It's because of a moral and cultural rot. And there are 1,000, 1,000,000 versions of truth. And if you have your own version of truth, you can't question that. You can't have a nation when you have 330 million versions of truth. There is one truth. There's not 330 million truths. Now, there are perspectives and opinions and perspectives. That's it. Anyway, let's continue. Sorry. Allergies are getting me. Quote, "This is outrageous and unacceptable. Americans agree and want lawmakers to act on common sense gun safety reforms," he continued. Instead, this past week, Americans saw national Republican elected leaders stand alongside the NRA in a race to the bottom on dangerous laws that further erode gun safety. Our communities need and deserve better. What's he talking about? What policy was recommended? Was he talking about national reciprocity, which is supported by the Second Amendment? Because that's really the only policy procedure, or the only procedural policy that was put forward. Getting rid of an unconstitutional executive bureaucracy rule through the ATF and all your other bureaucracies, also unconstitutional. There's nothing really crazy here. Notice how it wasn't constitutional sound, it was common sense sound. This is important because they're showing you the cards. Anyway, got this last one, and this is what they're passing off, and this is the point of the video, of common sense. This is no longer extreme, this is now common sense. Quote, I stand ready, as I always have been, to work across the aisle in good faith on federal legislation that will save lives, Biden continued. It is within Congress's power to require safe storage of firearms, require background checks for all gun sales, that's universal background checks. Oh, goodness. Eliminate gun manufacturers' immunity from liability, that's the PLCAA, that's repealing a sitting law, and ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines, and this should happen without delay. That's now common sense. That's now mainstream. That is no longer extreme. They've moved it into the main line of the gun control Democratic narrative. Universal background checks, safe storage laws, which require access and knowledge of where every single firearm is in the United States, known as a registry. Then you have the banning of an item, which is also unconstitutional on multiple levels, and they know it. And then you've got the other PLCAA, where you're repealing a law so you can put the gun companies out of business because you want to sue them into non-existence. This is now commonplace. This is now common sense. It's no longer extreme. You're witnessing the Overton window move, and that's what I've got for you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.